One of the most challenging things about being in a family is learning how to deal with family members that stress you out. I've worked with this through my whole career. I've got some ideas for you. You can always go to the old standby of moving to another country, changing the locks, getting your phone changed. Yeah, that's not going to work really well with family, I know. But sometimes we have to set appropriate limits around even interactions with our family. I've worked with so many people on this topic. Probably if you're dealing with this, you're not alone. In fact, I know you're not alone because I could name people, but that's confidential, so I won't do that right now. Here's some ideas. And more specifically, let me give you some ideas that won't get you arrested or have you having to learn another language. First, turn your brain on. Now, your brain's always on, but different parts of your brain do different things. And there's a little part of your brain called the limbic system. It's actually a family of structures in your brain whose responsibility is to keep you alive, keep you safe, have you living another day. And this part of your brain, when it picks up on a threat, it triggers the secretion of different chemicals from glands in your body right into your bloodstream. It's like a direct injection of power-up fluid. And these chemicals prepare your body to do one of two things: fight or run away. And if you're considering doing a felony or leaving the country, probably you're in fight or flight mode. Notice that, and notice that you have some level of control over your own brain. We can calm that fight or flight response and get the blood flow redirected back up front. Now, this front part of your brain is the prefrontal lobe, the frontal cortex. There's different ways that we refer to it, and it's in charge of logic, reason, problem solving, and most of the subtle and higher cognitive abilities that are needed to engage in a healthy relationship. That part of your brain shuts down when your limbic system fires up and you're in that fight or flight response. So when I say turn your brain on, I mean this part of your brain. I mean that part of your brain that is going to have you thinking logically and rationally. We don't always do that with family because we got history, we got issues, we got some old stuff that surfaces again. Okay, notice that. Let's calm the limbic system down. You can do this through exercise, through meditation, through deep focused breathing. All of those things will help you to calm that response so that you can get your brain thinking again. Do that first, because you're going to need that part of your brain for the next 3 steps. Now that your brain's turned on, and I mean the logical, rational part of your brain, we need to rethink this experience in a way that allows us to take it less personally. Everything has a personal and an impersonal component. The personal part of this thing is that it's you. It is you. It's your goofy family. It's your dysfunction. Yeah, that feels personal because it's me. There's another part of this that is not personal because it doesn't matter that it's you. What if you and I traded places? In our families, I mean. And now I grew up in yours and you grew up in mine, and now I'm living in yours and you're living in mine. What would I be experiencing in your family? What would you be experiencing in mine? Pretty much the same things that we're both experiencing already in those settings. Why? Because it's not about you, especially if it's some kind of a goofy dysfunctional pattern that has caused all of this disruption for you. It's not about you. It is you. We can't deny that, and we have to take that into account. That's the personal part. But it's not about you. So we need to rethink this thing in a way that allows you to take it less personally. Even when I shared that example that maybe we could trade places, that opens up a possibility in your mind that, okay, maybe this isn't about me so much. Usually when we get into a dysfunctional pattern with family, we get sucked into a very common temptation to blame someone or something else for how we feel. Well, that causes us to stay in the grievance phase. So this next step, even though it's kind of hard to accept, is a really important step that you need to take to empower you to get out of this dysfunctional pattern. And here it is. Take full responsibility for how you feel. I'm not talking about taking responsibility or blame for whatever offense happened that tipped you over in the first place. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking full responsibility for how you feel. And you're never wrong about how you feel. How you feel is 100% consistent with the way your mind is processing your experience in two areas, evaluation and creation. If you want a review of that, please go to our main channel page here at Live on Purpose TV, where the intro video will give you an introduction to the model about evaluation and creation. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Just click on over to that if you need it. Now, taking responsibility for how you feel does not let anybody else off the hook. It doesn't mean that what happened didn't happen. It simply means, okay, this has happened to me, and I feel the way that I feel because of the way my mind is doing those two processes. That is powerful, and it puts you in a position where you actually have some choice about where you're going to go from here. Now, our final step. This is goofy stuff, right? But most of the reason why this has been tipping you over is because of a story that you've created about it. Now, sometimes I refer to this as a victim story, where you show up as a pitiful victim. It's not your fault. All of these mean, evil people have beat you up or whatever. I had a client who was trapped in one of these dysfunctional family patterns. And it was specifically her stepfather who had severely abused her over a period of several years. Anyways, we were talking about this and doing some coaching and counseling around that. I presented to her a scenario that she was riding in a limousine up to a theater for the grand premiere of The Story of Her Life. And as she looked up at the marquee, she saw her name up there. We'll call her Sarah. Sarah's Life, starring John. This was her stepfather's name. She didn't want her grand premiere to be starring him, but what was she doing in the story in her own mind? So what we're doing in this last step is creating a new story. Not a victim story, not a story that stars the evil villain, a hero story. Starring me. And it can have all of the same plot and characters and everything else. But we are relegating the villain, the antagonist, the bad guy, to the credits. The end credits. He doesn't get to be on the marquee. You do. That's what I mean by a hero story. Look what happened in my life and look what I did with it. It's not about look how I was so beat up by this evil villain. No, we got a hero story. So you recreate and redefine your role, your relationships with these people. Family is kind of a goofy place to do this because of all the history that's there. But we can rewrite history. And you don't have to be in that same victim role that you've been in the past. You'll notice that all of these steps allow you to remain in the family, but not get sucked into those dysfunctional patterns that have been so toxic to you in the past. I hope that gets you thinking about some things that you can personally do. Thank you for visiting our channel. If you haven't subscribed, would you please do that? Just click that subscribe button. That allows you to stay connected to us. We're creating new videos that come out every day. So I'll be back tomorrow to see you here at Live on Purpose TV. Her head was down, face locked onto